Jeffermer, Denny Potvin joining you from the fabulous Phillips Arena in Atlanta. Shadows in the Panthers' end of the ice. But evidently, upon further review, they've decided to start the hockey game anyway. And it is war for Robert Svela. Panthers change up right off the draw. Wiedemeyer went out to the faceoff, and Kozlov comes on.
Well, that's not a problem, Jeff.
But your former teammate, Dwayne Sutter.
Well, Dwayne has been a guy that certainly has learned his profession from one of the best in Al Arbor. You talked to him about that earlier in the broadcast. And applying a lot of the same kind of disciplines and strategies that Al brought. One of the things Dwayne is doing as well is that, you know, they talk about the system. Well, Dwayne tries to have more than just one system, depending on who you're playing, and keeping it fresh for his own players.
Play called an icing against Atlanta, and they will head back into the Thrashers zone.
Now, Dwayne himself, you know, a trade after he had spent a good part of his career with the New York Islanders, was then traded to Chicago, and you know, things really do have silver linings. I mean, for Dwayne Sutter, he's standing behind the bench now, and a lot of it can be credited to the fact that his move to Chicago, at that time, Mike Keenan was a coach behind the bench. He credits Mike Keenan as having helped him get into the coaching and into management ranks. Started as a scout for the Blackhawks, and here he is now. So these things do have silver linings. Certainly we wish Scott Melleby the best.
Len Barry won the draw and cleanly. Ward sends it wide of the net. Barry picks it up off the backboard, walks out in front, up high, sends a quick shot there by Adams, and the puck rolled off his stick. Wayne Sutter sending players out, particularly for draws here, really out of the hockey game. Trying to get any edge that he can. Atlanta ending a 6-game winless skid on home ice last night with a 5-1 win, only the second in their last 19 games. Florida having dropped the 2 previous games, including one in overtime, to these Thrashers looking to come away with a victory here tonight on the road before heading home to play Phoenix come Wednesday night. And perhaps that Wednesday night game might be Wayne Gretzky's first as owner of the Coyotes. Please stay tuned for that one. And I wouldn't be surprised, another discussion that we had with Mr. Messier last night, if in fact Gretzky does take control of the team prior to Wednesday's game, Wayne likely will address the team and probably be in South Florida.
They're about as bad at home as they are on the road.
Yeah.
Penalty killing.
Can't give them much help at all there. 30th and last in the National Hockey League. Panther power play, despite the early season injuries, moving up. Florida 8 for their last 33 over the last 9 games. That's better than 23%. Improvement certainly in an area that Dwayne Sutter has worked on. Florida 2 for 8 against Atlanta. Try to move that puck around in the offensive zone. Here, played along the boards by Viktor Kozlov, who had a power play goal last night to get the Panthers within 1 late in that game against the Rangers. Eriksson able to keep it in? No. Play in the neutral zone and offside as Eriksson brought it back in momentarily. Just a couple of words. One on Ray Whitney, injured late in the game against the Rangers. No word as to his condition. He'll be examined likely Monday. And as for Mike Wilson, the good news, Wilson expected to take part in full gear and full drills this week. Perhaps sometime within the next 2 weeks he'll return. And returning up ice, it's Pavel Bure across the line. Bure now back 2 of the leader in goals scored in the National Hockey League. And what a wonderful race we have for the Maurice Richard Trophy. More than a dozen players now involved in that race for the goal-scoring lead. Eriksson off the point. Kovalev's taken that lead with a 3-goal hat trick, including the game winner in overtime. Back-to-back hat tricks today against New Jersey. Last game against the highly regarded Philadelphia Flyers in some circles.
Well, 3 hat tricks he's got on the year, Jeff, and 2 of them have come against those Philadelphia Flyers.
Those poor Flyers.
Yeah.
Here's Adams, left wing. Redirected into the zone. Clark tried to move it ahead to Sylvester. Sillinger steps into him. Lay along the boards and swept to the point. Backhanded by Dan Boyle. Played off the backboard. Adams tied up by Harlock. Dug free by Sillinger. Walks out in front. Throws to the point here for Barry. Barry for Sillinger. Sillinger now from the left point. Sillinger winds up through traffic. Nelichka, who robbed the Panthers of a victory earlier on this season. Last night had 2 power play goals. And this is unquestionably the top line for Atlanta. Brunette, Ferraro, and Audette. Ferraro, left wing pass, Brunette. Back to Ferraro. Ferraro top of the circle. Taken wide by Len Barry. Brunette behind the net, handing it off to Sylvester. Walks out of the corner. Sylvester for Tremblay. Tremblay moved off the point, and it's swept back down the ice and picked up here by Harlock. 4.5 minutes into the opening period. Ferraro at center. Ray Ferraro finds a lane and dumps it in. Heads off. Both teams change up here on the fly. And now it's Eriksson, Hedekin, tipped here to Peter Worrell. Worrell, Kozlov, and Bure. Up front for Florida. Harlock steps between Bure and Viktor Kozlov. Eriksson finds Hedekin. Hedekin, quick feed for Worrell at center. Angled off the boards and picked up by Kozlov in full flight. 400th NHL game last night for Panther lineup tonight, although we have yet to see him on the ice. Eriksson dumping it in. Malichka behind the net, and it's left there for Clark. Swung around, left wing boards. Bure picks it off, tries to dance away. Now Lambert unable to clear the zone. Kozlov tried to feed Bure. Broken up by Atlanta. Here's Sylvester. And the long shot sent right on. Panthers traditionally wear their road jerseys. Road red. They are wearing their whites here tonight. Atlanta has a giveaway. It's jersey night here. The Thrashers have asked to wear their dark and road sweaters as a result. Here comes Hedekin out of his own zone to center. Angled in. And it'll be Yuri Slager, the former Penguin, picked up in a trade, who makes the play. A quick feed off the stick of the forward, Gruwala, former Lightning performer. And it's dumped down wide of Trevor Kidd since he touched it. But no icing. John Jacobin off the board. Odgers trying to keep it in, but can't. Crossbill unable to come up with that puck. Gruwala throws it back. Skopinsev, left wing pass here. On the wing is Cone, traded yesterday. Thrown in front, and Cone with some good speed on that left wing. Now Donovan, who has moved to center with Cone and Odgers. The line here in an attempt to perhaps provide some protection for Cone, who, the story goes, a little soft. Stays away from the heavy traffic, but he's got a couple of tough guys playing with him. We'll see if that makes a difference.
And he's got a lot of speed. That's one way he gets out of traffic.
Adams. No goals in his last 11 games. His next would be his 350th NHL goal. He's been waiting a while for that.
Sometimes that's a barrier that you put in your own mind. And in last night's game against the Rangers, he missed the net on 2 or 3 opportunities, I recall pretty clearly. Shots, maybe trying to put a little too much oomph in the shot, and you're pulling it wide.
Just squeezing that stick a little tightly. Ward off the boards. Dennis Schmidtke, his first shift since his return, played awfully well for Florida at Louisville, up there with Niedermeyer. And on the wing is Jokinen. There's a high stick that has cut. I believe that is Tremblay down, and play whistled down.
Directly to the team dressing room.
Play along the boards. Niedermeyer walks it off and away from Slager. Rob Niedermeyer walks out in front. Niedermeyer tried to send it in front, but Nalichka, who had lost his stick, did not get the shot through to Niedermeyer because Slager stayed right there with him. Ferraro in the corner. Ray Ferraro. 12 20-plus goal seasons, courtesy last night of 2 that give him 21 on the year. Scramble in front, scored! Donald Audette all alone, and the Panther killer continues his mastery over the Florida Hockey Club. 15th goal in 19 games. He's got 22 points career-wise. Donald Audette, who has already set a career high in points, has given Atlanta the 1-0 lead.
Well, let's take a look at how this sets up. It's Yuri Slager right here with the puck. He surprises Trevor Kidd, and you saw where you've got Brunette in front of the net causing the screen. He didn't see it. Watch Brunette, bottom of your screen, 15. Now Yuri Slager shoots. Brunette gives the screen for him. Trevor Kidd has to look around him a little bit, leans to the right, does make the initial save, but it's an awkward one. He can't handle a rebound, and as happens to goal scorers, the puck ends up right on the stick of Audette. An empty net staring at him.
27th goal of the year. Donald Audette continues a point-scoring streak. It's now been extended to 6 games. Audette, who does not miss a lot of room to maneuver. Now, speaking of maneuvering, Bure shot sails off a stick up into the crowd. Florida has won 8 of 10 faceoffs, but they trail 1-0 on the Audette goal. Atlanta, Skopinsev behind the net. Walking out in front, dishing it off on the wing. Backhanded by Harlock to center. Here picked up left side. Atlanta, quick feed, and it's Kallio around the net. Kallio in front. Kidd made the save. Scramble right there on the Panther doorstep, and Hedekin sweeps it off the stick of Kallio, who picks it up. Svartvedet gives it right back to Pavel Bure. Hedekin jumping up for Florida. Left wing goes Marcus Nielsen. Hedekin at center will angle in, and it's Chris Kamer. Will pick it up in the corner. Kamer knocked down with Nielsen. Rung around the boards, up high, over the stick of Dan Boyle. Pressured there by Sillinger, former Panther farmhand. Had a cup of coffee with Florida, but played most of the time while in the Panther organization in the minors. Sillinger, incidentally, one of the players acquired in a 4-for-1 deal that saw Trevor Kidd come to Florida in an expansion day deal prior to Atlanta's first game in the NHL. Behind the net, walking out on deck, tried to throw it off the pad of Trevor Kidd, played by Worrell, Sillinger, and it's picked up by Ray Ferraro. Ferraro up along the boards by Prospel. This is Slager. What an addition he is to Atlanta's defense. And you think of all their injuries, including former Panther Gord Murphy. Good thing they picked him up in a trade with Pittsburgh. Over the stick of Ward, play called as two players collide, Worrell and Slager. Let's see who's getting the gaze.
But January was a lot different. 1 victory, 10 losses, 3 ties, and 1 overtime loss as well. So it's been a real tough time.
Walking in, Trevor Kidd scores! The puck trickled by Trevor Kidd on the short side, and it's 2-0 Atlanta.
Well, obviously, you've got to look at how the defense gets itself out of the way. There you see, as the Florida Panthers, none of them getting in between the attacker and your own net. So, you've got Smart Vedette coming in and really nobody laying a stick on him and then trying to get the puck somewhere to the front of the net. And Smart Vedette, who is on a streak of sorts, scoring the last 2 goals for this team last night in their 5-1 victory over the Boston Bruins, just continues to play with a lot of confidence.
10th goal of the year unassisted. The goals come, 2 of them, 2 minutes and 5 seconds apart. And the Thrashers out to a 2-0 lead. They had won the previous 2 games in the season series, and there's 2 more left after tonight's. But Florida has dug a hole, and they'll have to dig out. Skopinsev behind the net. Smart Vedette on the rush. Tried to send it ahead. It's off the skate of Kallio. Baylor back to play for Florida.
Now, one thing you see pretty clear right now in the preparation for Kurt Fraser is speed. He wants a lot of speed against the Florida Panthers, and he has got guys just busting from the boards to the middle, trying to get open.
Second power play for Florida. They had 1 shot, their previous advantage. A chance now to get right back in this game. Bure waits. Right wing off the goalpost. He had Nelichka beat. Kozlov, Eriksson. Bure winds up. Nelichka the save. Niedermayer back in front. Can't make the play. Panthers going with 3 forwards and 1 defenseman. Remember, there were coincidental minors prior to the penalty to Kallio. 4-on-3. Bure lets it go. Nelichka got the stick on it. Now Niedermayer back for Eriksson. 34 seconds remaining in the coincidental minors. Here's Eriksson. Bure the blast. Nelichka. The angle and the save, and Atlanta has cleared the neutral ice.
Now somebody else has got to shoot the puck. Right now, Nelichka is counting on Bure shooting.
Here's Kozlov, and boy, did he have a great shot last night on the power play to get the Panthers back to within 1 of the Rangers. Kozlov behind the net. Viktor Kozlov away from Clark, hands to Niedermayer, turning away. Niedermayer riding a 2-game goal scoring streak. Here's Eriksson. Kozlov, Bure waits patiently. Shot by Eriksson off the mark. Niedermayer knocked down. Nelichka taking a little extra liberty there against Niedermayer. Magoo watches, but doesn't make the call. Nelichka had that big mitt all over Niedermayer's face. There's Prospel. Daddy Boyle up high. 33 seconds left. Florida at full strength. The coincidental minors are over. Atlanta down a man.
Tried to go far side.
3 shots for Florida on the power play. There's a drive. There's number 4. Adams in front. Shot there by Prospel is blocked. John Donovan off the boards. Kallio 12 seconds away from stepping out of the penalty box. Florida all over Atlanta, but unable to beat Nelichka.
Well, Nelichka will having one of the 2 wins against the Florida Panthers. Hauser getting the first one of the season.
Here comes Sillinger. Prospel, and he can't hang on to that bouncing puck. There's a shot by Adams that's blocked. Puck bouncing on Prospel. He had nothing but a wide open net. Now Ferraro tried to shovel it on the short side. Kellio, bumped by Svela. Ferraro behind the net. Ray Ferraro sends it up high for Donald Audette. Tipped away. Audette, the first of 2 goals tonight for Atlanta in this opening period. Crossbow for Florida. Looks at Adams, right wing at center. Adams angles it ahead, goes right back after it, but it's Skopinsev to play for the Thrashers. Right side, Ferraro. Ferraro in the backhand away from Len Berry. Rolls it into the Panthers zone. 6:55 left as Hennigan camps momentarily behind Trevor Kidd in the Panther net. Florida trailing 2-0 here, despite outshooting the Thrashers 7-5. Tamer in front of his own bench. Sends it off the wall. Jokinen tips it ahead. Right back to Tamer. Played left wing by Lambert. Stood up along the left wing there was the Atlanta forward Guala. Here's Clark away from Worrell. Brett Clark brings it in over the line. Tried to dish it off. Nice play by Hennigan. Off the stick of Worrell. He can't handle it. There's Lambert and Jacopin coming together. Panthers clear. Tamer takes a hit from Jacopin. Hennigan for Florida. Left wing pass for Berry. Chipped off the wall by Sylvester. Koala with a bit of a knee on Hennigan. And that goes uncontested. Here is Jokinen, right wing. Tries to step away from Kallio. Held by Kallio. He go right back to the penalty box. Nelichka moves it along. Right side, Vasiliev. Vasiliev standing still at center. Angles ahead. It'll be played by Ward. Quick feed for Robert Svela. Svela, 250 career points in the National Hockey League, as we mentioned, picking up an assist last night. We'd like to add to that total here right now. Florida has certainly had as many, if not more, quality scoring chances than the Thrashers, but it's a 2-0 Atlanta lead. Svela, quick feed, looking for Bure, knocked down by the Thrashers. In turn, Ward sends it right back out of his own zone. Smart Vedette, one of the 2 goals, he and Ferraro, or rather Audette, have scored for Atlanta. Now brought in by Kozlov. Going wide on Slager. Quick shot, scores! What a goal! Viktor Kozlov walking around Slager. Then went to the far corner to beat Nelichka, and it's 2-1.
Great play by Viktor Kozlov as he freezes the defenseman. Watch as he comes through right in the middle of your screen. Right here, he goes to the forehand. And Slager seemed to anticipate Kozlov maybe shooting the puck. So he got a little flat-footed, leaned forward on his skates. It's awfully hard when you get on the balls of your feet to be able to recover when you've got the speed of Kozlov. That's why Slager, unable to even get a stick on Kozlov. And then, of course, the finishing touch right along the ice, stick side on Nelichka.
Pavel Bure draws the lone assist. Bure now with 17 points in his last 10 games, including tonight. Donovan getting away from traffic. Donovan, poke check there by Boyle. Tried to sweep it out of the zone, but could not. Now Jacopin in the corner. Niedermeyer tipping it away from Audrey. Niedermeyer circles the net, heads up ice. Niedermeyer flanked on the right side by Schwidtke and Len Berry on the left. Schwidtke saves it at the line. Schwidtke, nice feed for Len Berry. He moved off the wall as Brett Clark was able to drive it out of the zone. Odgers, cross ice here. Slager finding a lane and dumping it deep into the Panthers zone. Boyle behind the Florida net. Left wing pass for Berry. In full flight, Jokinen, and now Schwidtke will head on. Picked off by Tremblay, who's returned after some minor repairs. Then Berry unable to cradle that puck. Harlock's got it, and he'll backhand it in. Out of the net. There's Trevor Kidd, moves it along the wall. Right side, Ferraro behind the net. Audette tried to walk out. Audette held in check there by Boyle. And it'll be Sillinger to play for Florida. Away from Brunette. Niedermeyer standing still along the right wing board. Carries out of the zone. Brunette right there around it. Look at Niedermeyer fight off 3 Atlanta players. And the puck dumped in and played by Nelichka off the wall. Harlock on the backhand. Knocked down by Ward. Ward. Robert Svela. Svela looking for Worrell in the right wing. Here's Harlock to clear it over the stick of Svela. Deep in the Panthers zone. It'll be Ward to touch it up, and that is icing.
Season, and you know Robbie.
Set in front, Bure scores! We're all tied up. Pavel Bure with number 32 on the year takes a feed from behind the net, and Florida has tied it at 2.
That quickly. Pavel Bure having plenty of opportunities while on the Florida Panther power play. Just couldn't seem to get it past Nelichka. But this time, an outstanding play by the youngster on that wing. How well has he played? Marcus Nilsson on left wing with the veterans Kozlov and Pavel Bure, and he brings his A game every night.
Pavel back to within one of the lead. We had mentioned that Alexei Kovalev scored 3 times, including the game winner in a Pittsburgh victory over the New Jersey Devils in overtime. Backhand shot, Nelichka the save, and he is looking at his defenseman and saying, what's going on? It's a shooting gallery. Well, the Panthers will take that and more. Here they come. Pavel Bure left wing. Bure trying to beat the defenseman. Quick shot there by Eriksson. Nelichka trying to cover up on that puck. Now Dwayne Sutter would like to get the line that's out there presently going for Florida. High stick here.
Yeah, there's a mistake. And Mike Sillinger getting the stick up. Phrase, join in. Then tune in the hockey telecast on Fox Sports Net to see if you're a winner. Good luck.
Sillinger double liner for high sticking, Atlanta's first power play of the night. Tremblay, who had returned earlier on after his initial visit to the dressing room, now manning the point. I believe this is his second or third shift since returning. But certainly some minor repairs for Sylvester. Short-handed. Len Berry sends it across ice, and it's broken up by Tremblay. 2:15 left in the period. Slager with a quick feed, right side Brunette. Back to Slager, top of the circle, and it was deflected. Players that they brought in, Kevin Stevens coming back, and of course to add the grit and the toughness, they did obviously have to increase their payroll, and Slager becomes expensive.
Well, exactly, and I think they've done something that they felt they needed very much, is their toughness. They wanted toughness, and therefore they had to make some room in the salary budget.
It's made a difference because Lemieux, Stevens, Dodger, Straka, and company, not to mention Kovalev, who had a second consecutive hat trick, are getting a lot more room, knowing that there's a couple of sluggos on the bench or on the ice. Here we go. Out of the zone. Clark, quick feed at center. Guala sends it ahead. Smela to cut it out of the way.
Of course, nobody knows better about injury problems and how it's tough to win in the National Hockey League than the Florida Panthers. Right now, at least the thing that Atlanta's had is that they were able to put points up on the board early in the season. The injuries didn't come till later on in the new year, pretty much.
Well, they had a couple of players that have been out for a lengthy period of time, and a player we haven't mentioned. How about Gord Murphy? Yeah, the former Panther. He's played all of maybe 3 or 4 games, coming back from the severe shoulder operation late last season. And then he breaks a thumb here the other day as well. Buzek, the impressive young defenseman, has been gone most of the year. But aside from that, when you total the injuries, 9 players out of the lineup most of the way. They have not been a hockey club that has had their better lineup on a night-to-night basis. Left wing Brunette passes there for Audette. Donald Audette with 1:40 remaining gives it to Jokinen. Jokinen sends it off the boards over the stick of Clark, and it's dumped down. Nelichka will leave it there.
It's actually poster night here, and the face on the poster is that of former Panther Gord Murphy.
Puck broken up, Bure away. Pavel Bure at center. Long shot. Nelichka able to drive it wide of the net.
Now Pavel goes through center ice like that. When he takes that shot, you got to believe that he feels, maybe I've got a chance of scoring. It's just the thought process.
This is going to be a great race, not only obviously for playoff positioning, and eventually Eastern and Western Conference championships to be determined, but as well Pavel Bure in a race of his life to defend his Rocket Richard Trophy win of a year ago. Speaking of time, it's underway. Second period, 1:02 remaining in the double minor for the Panthers. Sillinger. Tremblay with a shot, left in front. Smela able to chop it away. Up high Slager. Slingshot, but wide of the net. Ferraro hit there by Jacobin, and Niedermeyer will angle it off the wall. Magoo jumps. He can jump off those feet. How about that? Slager. Right wing pass on Audette. Backhanded Ferraro. Touch pass Brunette. Brunette Ferraro. Oh boy, a thing of beauty.
Normally.
Wally Harris, supervisor tonight, so he'll certainly make that report that Mr. Magoo shows some physical presence out there tonight. There's Slager. Left wing pass Ferraro. Backhanded ahead Jokinen with a clearing attempt going between the 2 Atlanta defensemen and effectively killing off the time. We're down to 14 seconds in the double minor to Sillinger. Slager. Great pass for Audette. Brunette waits on the left wing, jumping up Ferraro. Bumped there by Spela. Now Slager, cross ice. Audette picks it up. Audette slips and falls at the blue line. Sillinger waiting. Sillinger looking for that door to open. And the time's up. He's fighting. Look at that. The time was up for a couple of seconds, and the off-ice official didn't open the door.
That's an old Philly trick.
You are really tough on those flyers.
I hear.
Slager out of the zone. Slager. Long lead pass Ferraro, and it bounced over his stick right to Trevor Kidd. Tamer, quick shot, turned aside by Trevor Kidd. Hedekin plays left wing boards. Chip pass here for Viktor Kozlov. Kozlov in over the line, drop pass for Bure. Here's a one-timer blocked by Skopinsev off the stick of Marcus Nielsen. Back come the Thrashers. Rolled in by Vasiliev. Out of the net comes Trevor Kidd. Kidd away from Svartvedet. Nielsen tried to chop it back behind the net. Now tied up there by Vasiliev. Svartvedet is right there. He scored the second of the two Atlanta goals in the opening period. Svartvedet chipping it back to the point. Here's Skopinsev able to save it. Oh boy, Vasiliev got a piece of it, but trickled it wide of the net. The deflection in front, but Atlanta missing, and here come the Panthers. Viktor Kozlov, left wing, Hedekin shovels it towards the net. Nelichka off the shoulder and up into the crowd. Nice catch by a fan here. Had some success with Messrs. Ferraro and Audette in particular, because those two playing as a unit. How many power play goals? They have a total of 21 between them, including 2 by Ferraro last night. Here's Odgers, brings it over the line. Backhands it in. Ward behind the net, who incidentally has picked up an assist on the Kozlov goal. So that goal now reads Kozlov from Bure and Ward. An assist taken away from Kozlov on Jacobin. Sending it wide to the net. Now played by Adams. Adams, Sillinger with a quick shot off the shoulder of Nelichka. Uses his body to stop that puck. Trevor Kidd sees it take a wicked bounce off the backboard. Lambert ridden off by Jacobin up high. Mike Sillinger. Sillinger handing to Ward. Adams, and Adams just rolls it in and heads off. Tremblay to pick up the loose puck. Looks at Guala. Guala now out of his own zone. Slipping and falling is Sylvester, who's returned after being cut in the opening period. Kidd off the glass. Lambert able to cut it off on the right wing. Lambert bumped by Boyle. Niedermeyer trying to dig that puck free. There's Guala with a centering pass off his skate. Worrell to play it up high and away from Clark, and he fires it right off the arm of general manager Don Waddell, of these Thrashers. Waddell formerly with Orlando himself as the GM. So those two have a history together and are now reunited in the National Hockey League with these Thrashers. Right side Audette knocking down Ward with Ferraro. Here comes Slager in front, and it's off the stick of Brunette. Ward coming back to recover that loose puck, and the Panthers will clear the zone as Niedermeyer sends it ahead for Schmidtke. Here comes Robert Spela all by himself. Lets a shot go, and Nelichka the save. Very personable. Talking to his backup goaltender, Damian Rhodes, who had a solid game last night in the win here over Boston to end a long drought.
I guess he likes chicken parmesan, right, as a pregame meal?
Is that what it is?
Chicken parm, they call it.
Shot by Kozlov. That one gave Nelichka a little bit of trouble. Zone cleared by Svartvedet. Made by Eriksson for Florida. Head manning that puck here to Marcus Nielsen. Kozlov and Bure crisscross. Nielsen darts down the left wing. Tries to cut it off the wing. Svartvedet left the puck right there, and a quick shot from the wing, but Nelichka was able to cut it off. Vasiliev ridden off and right into the glass by Brett Hedekin. Now Eriksson finding Kozlov away from Svartvedet. Pass there from Nielsen failed, and Chris Tamer will dump it deep into the Panther zone. Back to touch up here will be Eriksson. It's ice. Barry, Bure, and Jokinen out there presently for Florida. Walla in the face-off circle against Lindbergh. He's got that stick on the ice. From the face-off, Svela, Bure, Pavel Bure, right point, angles it ahead, Barry, held in check, Svela in front for Jokinen, great work by Florida, and Nelichka equal to the task to deny Jokinen from point-blank range. Meantime, the newcomer Cone is hauled down. Guala slips and falls in the corner. Puck rolled, far side, Guala in pursuit, Tremblay off the point, missed. Guala backhands for Tremblay. Atlanta defenseman behind the net. Tremblay trying to walk out, poke check, and neatly taken away by Robert Svela. Harlock saves it at the line. Gloved right in on Trevor Kidd. Moved by Ward off the boards, deep into Atlanta territory. This one will be icing on the road with the Panthers here at the Phillips Arena in Atlanta. A capacity crowd on hand here. Very few seats open. And the Panthers and the Thrashers trying to put on a show here, tied 2-2 as we approach the midway point of the second period of the hockey game. Sillinger backhands it in and will head off. Florida changing up on the fly. Tremblay for Harlock. Harlock up the left wing for Brunette. Puck sails the length of the ice. Ward will try to get to it first. And
that's the only time the linesman will drop the puck. Trying to get some kind of order there at the start of the play.
Backhanded by Clark over the stick of Ward. Robert Svela hustling back for it. Kidd will set it up. Svela off the glass. Sillinger picks it up right wing. Quick feed, Adams through the neutral zone, across the line, a wrist shot deflected off the stick of Donovan, way up into the crowd, and another great catch.
Getting every opportunity to play in every situation. Obviously the power play, regular shift, but also a lot more time in the penalty kill.
Skopinsev, left wing pass at center, Brunette chips it off the boards. And it is played here by Ward. Brunette, one of the lowest scoring, or excuse me, lowest paid forwards on this hockey club, 400,000 plus. And he's looking for a big increase. And the third member of this high-scoring line, Audette, turning down $2.5 million. 88 points in his first year in the pros at Rochester. Scored 31 goals, did Audette, his first year in Buffalo. And right now, Donald Audette, the talk here of perhaps signing a long-term deal, but he's playing hardball.
Well, in Los Angeles, they just had too many guys that were similar to him, obviously, with Robitaille and getting the Florida Panthers in what? This is the 19th game.
Well over a point a game, almost 2 points per game. 22 points career-wise against Florida. Here's Kozlov off the wall. Nielsen fires a shot. Nelichka got the pad on it.
Boy, again, Viktor Kozlov showing the confidence that has come back. It is so tough being out injured, coming back, getting injured again, wondering about the shoulder. He seems to have put all that behind him now.
Here's Vasiliev left wing. Vasiliev fires the shot. Kidd to save. Played by Erickson. Erickson away from Kallio. Puck picked up in the corner by Atlanta. Moved on the back end by Vasiliev. There's Erickson. Quick feed for Marcus Nielsen. Nielsen from the far board. Chips it over the stick to the oncoming Atlanta forward. Now Guala handing it back to Harlock. Tremblay. Right side. Sylvester. Perfect feed to Lambert. Couldn't handle the pass. Guala in the corner. Guala stepping away from Bure. Hedican to tip it away from in front of the Panther net. Now on the turnover. Played Lambert. Can't handle it again. Lambert pulling his way to the front of the net. But the puck sailed wide. Guala trying to dance away from Kozlov. Here is Guala handing it off. Tremblay off the point. Panthers come up with that puck. Dennis Schmidtke, and he's able to get out of the zone. Jokinen held up there by Harlock. Hauled down in front of the referee. And there should be a penalty away from the check. But he ends up with a diving call or unsportsmanlike conduct, and it's 4-on-4 as Bure sends it towards the net. It goes off Nelichka. Behind the net, Svartvedet heading up ice. Svartvedet hit there by Niedermeyer, who falls. Robert Svela takes a hit but makes the play. Here's Boyle. Dan Boyle first across the line. Cuts around Skopinsev. Cuts in front. Oh, what a goal! 3-2 Florida. Danny Boyle. A highlight reel goal. And Florida has the lead. First time tonight. It is 3-2 Panthers.
Oh boy, I tell you what, Skopinsev having a tough time along the boards as Dan Boyle crosses the blue line with speed.
It's our Mercedes moment. Let's take a look at this play by Danny Boyle.
Dan Boyle getting Skopinsev to be just flat-footed, and take a look at how he is allowed to go to the front of the net totally unimpeded. And Tabor, typically a physical defenseman, takes a look up ice. Maybe he's going to pass it. And all the while, Dan Boyle shows a tremendous anticipation and some offensive talent right here as he goes in on goal, scores his second goal of the season. And we want to see a lot more of that kind of play from Dan Boyle.
Continuing 4-on-4 hockey. One assist that goes to Robert Spela. And it is now Florida leading 3-2. We passed the midway point. Niedermeyer, his stick held in check. Ferraro backhands. Niedermeyer, outlet pass for Bure. He's got a breakaway. Pavel walks in, shoots, scores! Pavel Bure reclaiming a part of the National Hockey League goal-scoring lead, and it's the Panthers 4-2.
I don't know if Pavel is trying what he's trying to do, but I tell you what, he has this sneaky little thing like he buries his head as he goes. Watch right here. See, right here he seems to bury his head. I don't know if he's trying to pick up more speed or fool the goaltender, Niluchka, but he goes right back to where he likes to shoot the puck, 5-hole. But of course, as a goaltender, you can't count on that, as he did with Hasek against the Buffalo Sabres. He pulled it to the backhand, but Pavel Bure on a breakaway rarely misses.
30 seconds apart, Boyle and Bure, and the Panthers scoring in bunches tonight. They have now 4 unanswered goals. Their goals in the opening period coming after Atlanta took a 2-0 lead, and those goals were 1 minute and 40 seconds apart. Here, just 30 seconds between Boyle and Bure's goal, and a delayed penalty upcoming here to Florida. Kidd will touch up.
Try and kill off the penalty.
Atlanta 2 for 8 on the power play last night. This is their third manpower advantage of the evening. Florida done a pretty good job in the penalty kill. Again, will be tested here. Here's Ferraro. Niedermeyer with a hard hit there on Donald Audette. He paid a price. Drop pass for Sillinger. Sillinger certainly improves this power play. Audette coming late, fires a shot. Save Kidd. No rebound.
Includes a goal tonight. First goal of the hockey game.
2 power play shots up to this point. And this is the third power play for Atlanta this evening. 8 minutes, 16 seconds left in the period. A little more than a minute in the current power play. At the point, Slager. Cross ice. Tremblay. Screening. Trevor Kidd in front. Slager dancing away from Hedican. Oh boy! Everybody in the building, including the Thrashers, thought they put the puck in the net. I don't know how Gowalla missed it. The net was gaping wide open. He fired the puck through his hands in the air from the draw. Jokinen. Zone is clear. Here is Slager. Cross ice. Tremblay, quick feet, right wing. Cone making his debut as a Thrasher tonight. On to the point. Here's Tremblay. Tremblay attempted the backhand pass. Sillinger knocked it down. 22 seconds of power play time remaining. Yuri Slager, head manning. Here's Cone breaking in, and Robert Spela is going to get called here. His call is hauled down briefly. Yeah, never played, but for all intents and purposes was their property before being quickly shifted. Now wide open. Kidd way out of the net. Hedican was able to redirect it. 1 second left on the 2-man advantage. Nielsen steps out of the box. Here in the slot, it's sent back. Nielsen hooking the stick away, or the puck away from Yuri Slager as he lifted Slager's stick.
Well, Brett Clark showing you why you've got to release that shot sooner or later. He waited a long time to get the shot off, and Hedican was able to travel about 30 feet to take the puck away.
Sillinger crisscrossing there with Nielsen. Panthers gain the zone, backhanded ahead. It'll be played by Nielsen behind the net. Knocked off the netting. And here it is played by Svartvedek. 1:14 of power play time. Less than 7 minutes left, second period. 2 goals for Florida. They have scored 4 unanswered goals to this point in time, coming from an early 2-0 deficit midway through the first period. Slager brings it over the line. Pushes it off the right side for Audette. Power play time. Oh my! It's a 1-goal hockey game. Power play goal by Atlanta.
A very happy Yuri Slager. Boy, his game has improved as tonight has gone on, and he has added much more offense to his game. That's Slager right there making the play to the boards, right side of your screen. He falls down, gets up, and sneaks in behind Anders Eriksson to get the deflection. Take a look, good angle right there. As you can see Trevor Kidd saying, where did he come from? Last time I saw Sillinger, he was on his back. Yuri Sillinger having a solid night here for the Thrashers.
Now Donald Audette making a terrific pass from the right wing boards. And Sillinger converting. I always like this guy. Here's a Penguin. And he has certainly added a dimension to this Atlanta power play. 1 goal game. A little more than 6 minutes remaining. Robert Svela off the board. Marcus Nielsen left wing. Nielsen head-manning the puck to Viktor Kozlov. Odgers at the blue line, sending it to the opposite blue line. Now Kozlov back for Florida. Backhand for Bure. Cuts in. Bure, quick shot. Nelichka the save. Rebound. Bure again trying to tuck it home. Short side. Nelichka hanging on. Trevor Kidd and the Panthers clinging to a 1-goal lead. And this has been the complete package tonight. If you like offense, you're seeing a great deal. Turnover. Kozlov going high and it went off the shoulder of Nelichka.
Well, it makes for an exciting game. A lot of mistakes.
Here is Schmidtke. The all-Russian line now. Schmidtke, Bure, Kozlov. Odgers, cross ice, Cohen. Right side, Odgers. Cohen across the line. Wrist shot, poke checked away by Dan Boyle. Nice defensive play. And now Tremblay is again headed down the corridor. This is the second time he's left with a shoulder injury. This time left his hockey stick right on the ice. From the faceoff, Tamer backhands. Skopensev up and down from Orlando a couple of times this year. Sends it off the boards, but with all the injuries, you can certainly see why. Atlanta has been forced to dig into the farm system. No less than 17 call-ups this year from Orlando in the International League. Here is Guala. Guala rolls one in, on end, played by Trevor Kidd. Sylvester, who had left earlier after some repairs, returning out there now. Here is Sillinger for Prosper. Vinny Prosper, cross ice for Hedeken. Hedeken, quick shot. Nelichka down, makes the save, hangs on. Wednesday night, excellent seats available for that hockey game at the National Car Rental Center. The Panthers then play Friday and Monday. No Fox Sportsnet coverage. Friday against Boston, Monday against St. Louis, which will mark the return of Scott Mellenby in a Blues uniform. So you want to get your tickets early for those two games. Audette slips and falls. Niedermeyer in front of the net, dishing it off to Jokinen. Only Jokinen on the rush, right wing to center with Worrell. Slides it ahead, Worrell in pursuit in the corner. Worrell hit by Clark, fights off the check. Worrell with Niedermeyer, who walks out. Rob Niedermeyer trying to get away there from Clark. Niedermeyer turning. Well, you have to be tough to beat Niedermeyer in his board play of late. He has certainly improved in that regard. Worrell hauled down. Play continues. Slager all over the Panther forward. Ward tries to keep it in. Here comes Ferraro. Ray Ferraro. Audette on the right wing. Audette, top of the circle. Audette throws it in front. Kidd.
Players like himself.
6 in total on this club right now. Cone becoming the 6th by the trade with Anaheim, the 2 minor leaguers. Here, along the boards, Viktor Kozlov. Clark Cadet rolling it off into the corner. Now in a foot race with Jacobson. Jacobson pins him along the board. Puck comes free. Vasiliev in pursuit. Boyle doing his best to tie him up. With some help. Kozlov turned over. Here now, Pavel Bure. Bure turning away from Vasiliev. Big skate. He'll retreat behind the Panther net. Less than 3 minutes left. Second period as the Panthers send it to center. Skopensev backing up off the stick of Donovan. Loose puck, shoveled ahead. Panthers intercept and Kozlov tried to send Bure away. Kallio dumping it in. They're getting a little ragged here in the late stages of the second period. Pretty good flow through most of this second 20 minutes. Kozlov and Odgers bump. 26-15, the shots favoring Florida. They lead it on the scoreboard with 2:20 remaining. Prosper stepping away from fellow countryman Slager. Now backhand, Sillinger knocked it out of the air. Great hand-eye coordination there, but he could not get a shot away. Adams stripped to the puck there by Clark. Clark on the backhand. Holmes sends to center. Hedeken, quick feed for Eriksson. Anders Eriksson hammers it off the glass. Loose puck in front. Prosper can't get to it. Nelichka scores! The puck went off Nelichka. A comedy of errors. And the Panthers score from an almost impossible angle. Galichka first beaten by the wicked bounce off the backboard. Panthers just threw it to the net. Watch this.
Now there's a misplay on the goaltender, but then the shot by Sillinger. Knowing that there's confusion in front of the net, he fires from a terrible angle. Look at this. You just had a sense that the scoring is not over. Just error after error being committed by everybody, really. And you've got and now a 5-3 hockey game, 8 goals scored, and barely 40 minutes played.
The crowd feeling the goal shouldn't count with the Panther ending up in the net. But he was pushed in. And
the net did not come off of the moorings. So all of that is fine. And it does stay a goal, remain a goal by Sillinger.
As it should.
Yeah.
Donovan, pinned by Robert Svela. Niedermeyer, off the boards for Jokinen. Up high, Harlock. Harlock sends it through traffic. Svela, Eriksson draw the assists on the goal by Mike Sillinger. His 12th of the year. And Sillinger continues a point scoring now in 3 games. 2 goals and 1 assist in his last 3 for Mike Sillinger. The Panthers restoring a 2-goal lead in the late stages of the second period.
Now, 4 goals a period. Might we see 4 more in the third?
Guala around the net. Right wing pass, Sylvester. Kozlov able to bunt it away. Now Eriksson trying to send it ahead. Bure in pursuit behind the net. Bure's got a pair tonight. Nielsen walks out of the corner. His pass for Kozlov. Tipped by Bure. Bure had 1 goal in the previous 2 games against the Thrashers. Nielsen has 3. He'd like to add to that total, regaining the goal-scoring lead. Sylvester goes to the face of Pavel Bure. Pavel's all right. Little face wash. Now Guala from the left wing. Pavel picked up his stick. And he's going to have to hold his temper. Well into the final minute of play. A wild and woolly second period. Slager up high. Lets one go. That one high and wide of the net. Bure in the right wing. Moved ahead. Chris Tamer backpedals into his own zone. Sends it to center. Here now Spartadet. Pass. Vasiliev. Save. Rebound in front. Panthers chop it out of the zone, and Slager hustles after it. Final seconds, as you see, ticking off here. Puck rolled into the Florida end of the ice. And that'll do it. Against Florida in a 4-1 Atlanta win. Kurt Fraser decided to go to Nalichka, and he played well early, but certainly got unnerved in the second period as the Panthers scored 3 more after coming from a 2-0 deficit. And they lead by 2, 5-3 in the early moments of period number 3. Donovan, left wing, handing the puck here across the line. Guala, Robert Svela playing it off into the corner, bumps Guala. Nielsen there to help out, and Bure will pick it up at the goal line. Bure lifts it in the air, looks for Kozlov in the left wing, and the Panthers send the neutral ice and quickly change up.
Well, interesting. As the Florida Panthers just looking for a line change. Pavel Bure gets out into the neutral zone.
Slager in a foot race. Out comes Rhodes, and he'll leave it there. Slager pressured by Jokinen. Slager turned around on the play, kicks it behind the net. There's Clark away from Len Berry. Clark moves it around on the left wing. Kallio, impressive rookie here for Atlanta, but missed 23 games with a broken collarbone, just returned last night. There it's Eriksson head-manning the puck. It's off Berry, sent ahead. Knocked down by Kallio. Here stepping up and across the line, Spartadet. Spartadet right side, sends it in front. Nobody there. Only Jokinen away from Vasiliev, able to send to center. Adams in pursuit of the puck. Poke check by Slager, and Spartadet will send Atlanta away. Here comes Spartadet across the line. Spartadet left wing. Spartadet goal line behind the net. The Atlanta center looking for some help, and it'll be Eriksson for Florida to scoop up the loose puck 1.5 minutes into the third period. Sillinger has the 5th of the 5 Florida goals. Harlock, Vasiliev turning away from traffic, finds Skopinzev. Skopinzev off the wall and away from Adams. Vasiliev can't send it in. Adams for Florida. In over the line. Adams for Niedermeyer. Niedermeyer give and go for Adams. Couldn't get the stick on it. Sillinger chips behind the net, and Niedermeyer will play it. Niedermeyer held up by Harlock. Fights off the check. Adams cycles out. Sends to Sillinger. Quick shot deflected off the glove of Rhodes. Played by Skopinzev. He and Adams collide behind the net. Battle for possession. Niedermeyer trying to fish it free and does. Ferraro right there gives up a lot of size to the Panthers centerman. Here is Brunette. Brunette to the line and out as Niedermeyer was dropped in front of Scott Zelkin. Turned, looked over his shoulder, but Zelkin wasn't interested. Here's Slager off the wall for Audette. Tripped up was Ferraro. Ferraro goes back at Niedermeyer. And those two have words as play continues behind the net. Tamer looking for Slager. Audette on the right wing. Donald Audette on the give and go. Takes it back. Tries to go wide on Hedeken. Audette ridden off on the play. Puck left in the corner and chopped ahead. Play to the left wing by Marcus Nielsen with Kozlov and Bure. Kozlov at center. Kozlov across the line. Kozlov brings it around the boards for Marcus Nielsen here on the near side. Bouncing puck, Audette tipped it away from Kozlov, and it's knocked out of the Atlanta zone. Coming late, this is Audette with Brunette. Brunette right wing. Brunette walks in, and it's blocked in front by Hedeken. Away goes Marcus Nielsen. Hedeken jumping up. Kozlov trailing. But the puck picked off by Tamer, and he steps away from any difficulty. Approaching the 4-minute mark of this third period. Lots of flow with few whistles in the early going.
A lot of puck. The puck being changed hands a lot right in the neutral zone, too. And hard to figure out whether you're getting good defensive play in the neutral zone or just bad offensive plays.
Brett Clark tried to send the home run pass there to Guala. He and Jacopin get caught up behind the net. Now Cone. Left wing boards, tried to chop it towards the net. Erickson knocks him off the puck. Vaclav Prospel for Florida. Vinny Prospel away at center. Looks right side. Too far for Sillinger. Puck on in. Rhodes out to tee it up. And there's Schwitke with a shift here. Shot by Sillinger, and Rhodes got the stick up on him.
That's the first big save that Damian Rhodes has made after replacing Nelichka here in the third period.
And Boyle trying to scoop up the loose puck. Interesting answer to Denny's question with regards to having the green light. No, not necessarily. Our coach is a defensive coach. And here in the third period, you expect Boyle to think more defense than offense. Prospel finds a lane, puck all the way to Rhodes, who quickly sends it back to Sylvester. Dean Sylvester off the pad of Boyle. Far side, Erickson can't get the stick on it. Erickson works against Svartvedet. Up high, Bure, touch pass, poke checked away by Vassiliev, and the Panthers dump it down. Stolpins having a foot race here with Jokinen, and icing the call against Florida. 4:51 into this third period.
There's no better place to get together than at the Thrashers.
Next stop on the Panthers Bud Light and Fox Sports Net Coolest Bar Tour will be Thursday the 22nd at the Quarter Deck in Cordova at 7 p.m. You can watch the Panthers take on the Senators in Ottawa.
Well, Pavel Bure looking up at the clock. He's got plenty of time maybe to set a new franchise record in terms of shots on goal. He's got 10 shots on goal so far in this hockey game. That surpasses Ray Whitney's 9 shots on goal earlier this year. And of course, the franchise record at the moment, 11, held by this man, Pavel Bure, in a game against San Jose back in January of 2000. So he's got plenty of time, and you know he's going to get at least a couple more shots in this period, the way this game is going. Wide open.
Here is Erickson handing the puck to Bure, and Bure chips it off the board. Panthers change up on the fly. Lee Sutter playing for the matchup here. Audette carries it over the line. He wants to match up with a defensive type unit, at least in part, against the high-flying line of Ferraro, Audette, and Brunette, who has the puck behind the net. Walks out in front. Tamer off the point. Fires. It's off the side of the net. Worrell takes it from Tamer. Hands to Bure. One man back. Bure with Worrell going to the net. Bure fires. Save Rose. Rebound. Swept away.
There's that shot, number 11, tying the franchise record.
Here's Ferraro at the other end. Oh, boy! He had Trevor Kidd beat, but the puck bounced off the goalpost. Ray Ferraro. That shot kind of handcuffed Trevor Kidd, but the goaltender's best friend, the goalpost, keeping this one a 2-goal Florida lead. Puck left at the line, and away come the Panthers. Bure with speed. Bure, quick shot, scores! Hat-trick goal! Hat-trick goal! And the Panthers have a 6-3 lead, their biggest offensive outburst of the year. And Pavel Bure, how do you do? The NHL goal-scoring leader again.
And he does that on setting a new franchise record with his 12th shot of the game. Now getting his 3rd goal of the hockey game. And the Florida Panthers And the Atlanta Thrashers continue their scoring barrage here as Pavel Bure absolutely handcuffs Damian Rhodes. Now, Rhodes is a veteran goaltender, but take a look at that fake. Just enough to freeze the goaltender at that point. Puts too much weight on the skates, can't bring the legs together, and boom, another goal.
Fourth point of the night for Bure. 3 goals and an assist. To say he's on fire might not do him justice. In his last 10 games, he's got 11 goals. And Cone with a hard hit on Eriksson. The Panthers will come to the defense of their teammate who had his head hammered up against the glass. Minor penalty assessed to Cone, who is not in the penalty box. It's a 5-minute major
Penalty to Atlanta,
for boarding.
5-minute major for boarding and game misconduct at 6:21 of the third
Game misconduct for attempting.
5-minute major for boarding and game
And the
misconduct.
Panthers have a 5-minute power play and an opportunity to add at will. Here is Kozlov, leaving his magic across the line, right side for Robert Svela, off the skate of Harlock. Kozlov, Prospel, Marcus Nielsen working up front with Pavel Bure and Svela on the point, and it's Bure handing the puck here to Prospel. Back for Bure, 4-point night already with a Russian rocket. He has the puck on the half board. Panthers looking for their first power play goal of the night. They're almost 24% coming into tonight's game over the last 9. Marcus Nielsen works it along the boards. Luke Sutter, an awfully superstitious type. The Panther preview said, I hope we don't jinx it by talking about it. Nielsen protecting that puck with his body. Bure fishes it free. Svela, Kozlov misfired. Kozlov had a power play goal last night to cut the deficit against the Rangers to 1. Look at Kozlov, sends it back to Trevor Kidd. Svartvedet had the puck stolen away by Kozlov. Svela turning away from the aggressive forecheck. Now Svartvedet. Panthers on a breakup. Danny Boyle for Adams, looking for goal number 350. Adams walks in and offside the call. Oh boy, that might have been it. No goals in 11 games for Greg Adams as you got to look at Wayne Sutter wanting to see that power play improve.
You know, it's interesting what you say, Jeff, in asking Dwayne Sutter about the power play, him reacting, don't jinx it. Actually, when you look at what's happened throughout the course of this season, the power play has not been a major factor for the Florida Panthers, scoring only 4 power play goals in the 13 victories that the Panthers have had. It's been the PK, the penalty killing, that has been much more important.
Adams now in pursuit of the puck again. Adams taken wide by Brett Clark. Falls. Slager whips it around the boards. Eriksson, who was hurt, and thus the 5-minute major assessed against Cone, is on the ice for Florida. Now Sillinger with Adams. Handing to Adams. Right side. Adams walks in, pulls the trigger, and he missed the net. Adams sweeping it back to the point. Danny Boyle in front for Sillinger. Sillinger with it, shoots, and it's blocked in front of the net. Boyle picks it back up. 2:40 left in the Panther power play. Danny Boyle with a backhand shot that Slager takes wide of Damian Rhodes. Off the boards and the glass, and effectively deep into the Panther zone. 11:09 left to go. Third period and the hockey game. Sillinger for Prospel. Bure waits at the blue line. Panthers must regroup. Stepping behind the net is Danny Boyle. Boyle headmanning a puck to Prospel. Looks at Bure. Dishes it off to Niedermeyer. Niedermeyer. Bure scores! Pavel Bure, number 4 on the night. It's a power play goal, and he adds to his NHL lead. And it's interesting to note, the first time since Gary Unger here in the Omni, where this very Phillips Arena is built, that a player has had a 4-goal game in Atlanta.
Nice play, unselfish by Robbie Niedermeyer, as he knows he's out there with the man who's in the race to repeat as the Maurice Richard Trophy winner, highest scoring player in the National Hockey League. And Pavel Bure, with this goal, has taken the lead. Wow.
35th goal on the year for Pavel Bure. He now leads the rest of the pack, pending the outcome of tonight's other games, by 2 in the race for the goal-scoring championship in the National Hockey League.
Now, Alexei Kovalev with a hat trick today took the lead, but not for long.
Short-lived in a hurry.
Absolutely.
Here comes Prospel. In over the line. Niedermeyer, incidentally, has 3 assists in the game tonight. Viktor Kozlov sends it across the goal mouth. And it's quickly chopped out. Panthers have added to their season high 7 goals, easily outdistancing the 5 they had scored previously on a couple of occasions. And here they come again. Prospel across the line. Vinny Prospel throws it cross ice. Kozlov saves. He's got Bure on the wing. Pavel Bure turning away from traffic. Bure, Kozlov. Set up in front is Niedermeyer. Prospel with that puck. Panther power play. Less than a minute and a half remaining. Svartvedet with it. And he'll find a lane and dump it down. Pavel Bure, incidentally, now has 12 goals in his last 10 games. He also has 9 assists for 21 points. Better than 2 points per game average over the last 10 games. To say that he's on fire might be an understatement. Dennis Schmidtke back from the minors and trying to make an impression here at the NHL level. 9:45 left. Panthers well on their way to their first victory over Atlanta, and a lot of smiles from Pavel and his teammates.
Now, Pavel has scored 4 goals twice before in his career. And the last time he did that was January 1, 2000. Just over a year ago against the Tampa Bay Lightning.
Trevor Kidd out of the net. Think about that performance against Buffalo. 2 goals and 2 assists before the All-Star break. Last night, Florida beat by the New York. Oh boy, right up into the face of Dan Boyle.
You can hear the sound of the helmet and the shield. The shield, I bet, really saved Dan Boyle right there.
You bet.
Wow.
Ole Jokinen just hit a bit of flash. We heard it all the way up here. Now Jokinen, and it's poke checked away. Final minute of the Panther power play. Peter Worrell looks at the point. Cross ice, Boyle lets it go high, off the glass, up into the crowd. 9:02 left. We get a whistle. Here, 7-3. You see the time remaining. You know, we've talked about the goal-scoring leadership, and right now it's all Pavel Bure's with 35 and a 2-goal lead. But that is pending the outcome of some later West Coast games with offside the call there. Peter Bondra had 1 last night. He's now got 32. Then Marcus Naslund of Vancouver will play tonight. He's got 31. Joe Sakic in Colorado now underway. Sakic did not score that first goal. It was scored by Tanguay. And Milan Hajduk has a total of 30 goals. So he's chasing Bure, who now has 35 on the year. I'll tell you what, there are 12, 14, 15 NHL players that are all legitimate Maurice Richard Trophy winners. This is going to be a terrific race from now to the end of the year.
And you're so right. You know what happened? Midway through last week, it was Milan Hajduk who was ahead in the goal-scoring department, and it changes so quickly. So you can expect that it's going to keep changing night after night. Isn't this what the NHL wanted?
And isn't this what we want to see in South Florida? Remember, the Panthers have a majority of the games that they have remaining on ice at the National Car Rental Center. An opportunity to watch Pavel weave his magic on a nightly basis. Certainly, Panther fans have not had as much to cheer for as we would like, but entertainment, the name of the game, and the Panthers and Pavel Bure will try to put on a show for the rest of the year. We talked to Dwayne Sutter off the air, and Dwayne doesn't want to concede anything. He says, hey, I'm not conceding that we're out of the playoffs yet. I guess that's the attitude to have.
You've got to think that way.
Here comes Jokinen, right wing, Skopensev back, drop back to Niedermeyer, top of the circle, walking in, Niedermeyer behind the net, throws it through the goal mouth, nobody there. Ward with a shot, and it's blocked. That one hurt right off the ankle of Odgers, who gets up, and he's going to have to head off.
Now Ward got him back.
In a different way, so to speak. Schmidtke tries to pull away.
There are many ways out there.
Niedermeyer for Sillinger, knocked down there by Ferraro. Ferraro sent back Brunette to the point. Here is Tamer, 6:45 left. Chris Tamer walks in over the line. Tamer, right wing boards, backhand shot. Kidd looked behind him on that one. Now Tamer fires a shot. Saved by Kidd. He's got it underneath him. And there's no further play.
You know, I don't know. A lot of guys aren't looking very confident out here in this hockey game.
Need some excitement on Valentine's Day. Well, you'll love watching the Panthers take on the Phoenix Coyotes in an Eastern versus Western Conference showdown Wednesday night. Florida Sports Tonight, Panther Preview, live at 7 p.m. The battle for position starts at 7:30 here on Fox Sports Net. Sean Burke, Keith Tkachuk, who knows? Jeremy Roenick and maybe even Wayne Gretzky might be in the building at the National Car Rental Center on Wednesday. That is the deadline, folks, for Gretzky to take over ownership of the Coyotes. And as we mentioned over the last couple of telecasts, knowing Wayne as we do, I would bet he'd want to address the club after officially becoming owner. And he's been waiting quite some time. I talked to him during the summer, and he was anxious then. So we'll get a chance to perhaps address the team and maybe be in South Florida, the National Car Rental Center, come Wednesday night. Hope to see you there as well. If not, we've got it for you right here on Fox Sports Net. Walking out of the corner. Quick shot by Prospel. Save. Panthers return to South Florida immediately after tonight's game. We'll play the Coyotes, as we mentioned, Wednesday night, Boston Friday night, and the final game of the homestand a week from Monday. That will be against Scott Mellanby and the St. Louis Blues. Shot. Guala missed the mark. Peter Worrell along the left wing boards, handing the puck here to Viktor Kozlov. Bure down the right side. Drop pass there for the, oh boy, high stick. Where's the penalty? And indeed, it's called. Magoo. The Panthers take exception.
Well, that's Brett Clark of the defenseman. It came up high on Pavel Bure.
And Bure goes back. Got something to say to Mr. Clark. Take a look at this.
Yeah, it's the glove right in the face. You can see pretty clearly.
High sticking the call. Clark's got something to say to Magoo, and he better watch out. He might pick up an additional 2. Magoo just kind of waves him off with the backhand.
Well, you know, I've seen Pavel play enough years to know that Brett Clark doesn't want to be caught with his head down anywhere on the ice, because there might be a number 10 cruising around at some point looking to get him back. He doesn't usually wait too long, but right now he's a little preoccupied. Pavel Bure, will he get 5 goals tonight? He did that in the Olympics in 1998 against Finland. 5 goals in Nagano. Has not done it yet in the NHL.
Erickson handing the puck here to Kozlov. Florida won for the previous 4 on the power play. Tamer finds a lane and dumps it down. Less than 5 minutes remaining in this hockey game. Nice move by Boyle to send it right off the back of the net and pick it right back up and away from the Atlanta player. Kozlov in the right wing. There was a bullet. And it sailed high over top of the net. Danny Boyle with that puck. Handing to Kozlov. Bure with a shot. And it went off Tamer and wide. Erickson. Erickson drops it for Boyle. Boyle brought it back in. Boyle had retreated to neutral ice. Came late. And could not save it at the line. Well, attention Panther fans, Inside the Panthers, a show that gives you the latest news and exclusive behind-the-scenes look at your Panthers, is 8:30 Sunday mornings. Don't miss this unique show hosted by Steve Goldstein. Sundays 8:30 right here and only on Fox Sports Net. Haye getting some power play time here. How about that? Marcus Nielsen and Greg Adams. Maybe Adams will get that 350th here. More than a minute left. Shot right on, gloved and juggled by Trevor Kidd. Kidd handing it off to Hedeke. Panthers head up ice. Serge Paille, Adams. Now Paille comes in off the wing. Paille to the front of the net, shoots, save Rhodes. No rebound.
Well, it's a wonder where Serge Paille finds the legs. Really has not had any kind of ice time throughout the evening. As Florida Panthers coach Dwayne Sutter more using Pavel Bure, double shifting him, triple shifting him. And there you see Paille coming off the bench, finds some legs. Boy, I tell you what, throughout the game, it's been pretty evident. You look back at the goal by Kozlov early in the game, the goal by Dan Boyle. Going wide on this Atlanta defense has produced some good scoring chances.
Shot by Svela. Comes into the slot to Nielsen. Nielsen turning away from traffic. Back for Svela. Handed to Greg Adams. Less than 40 seconds remaining in Panther power play time. Good puck movement here. And give Dwayne Sutter some credit here. He's not throwing that top unit out there. You don't want to run up the score because, remember, 2 more games between these 2 teams and something will be remembered. Penalty coming up. And who's going to get the gate? It's a slashing call. And this one could nullify Florida's power play. Or could it? Or it's another penalty to Atlanta. Wow. Callio gets the gate. 2-man advantage for the Florida Panthers. Albeit a brief one. Only 23 seconds remaining in the original call against Clark.
Now take a look. Number 14 there. Pretty good whack. 2-hander on Marcus Nielsen. The call being made. So the Panthers in the face-off circle deep in the Atlanta Thrashers zone will look to get at least a couple of opportunities. 23 seconds remaining. Sillinger in the face-off circle. The Panthers have been maybe not dominant, but very effective in the face-off circle throughout this hockey game.
There's Odgers up close and personal with Mick Magoo. 2-man advantage. Guess who's on the ice? Pavel Bure. 18 seconds remaining. And the Panthers 5-on-3. Here's Prospel. Prospel for Eriksson. Sillinger. Eriksson. Bure camped in that right circle. Eriksson sends it ahead. Kozlov, goal-mouth pass. Damian Rhodes cut it off. Puck got caught up on the net, and Kozlov a little upset, but plays whistled down immediately, and that puck gets caught on the net.
So that works in the favor of the Florida Panthers because now they get another face-off deep in the zone with 2 men short for the Atlanta Thrashers. 3 seconds remaining, of course, in the penalty to Brett Clark.
Prospel wins the draw. Eriksson looking for Bure. High off the glass. Prospel locks out. Hands to Sillinger. Quick shot. Pad save. And the rebound is sent away by Harlock. 5-on-3 over. Panthers power play down to a minute 24. Here comes Prospel. Dishes it off to Eriksson. Eriksson in over the line. Eriksson backhands it through the legs of Tamer. Eriksson hit by Tamer. Kozlov along the boards. Eriksson looking Bure behind the net. Walks out the point for Prospel. Makes the shot, looks at Eriksson. Bure camped on that far post. Kozlov for Eriksson. Circling the net, Bure tipped it right up into the pads of Damian Rhodes, and he'll hang on. 13 shots for Florida on the power play. Pavel Bure, a 4-goal night, a 5-point night.
Now take a look. Pavel Bure on the left side of your screen. Now he knows that he's being guarded too well. So watch him come around the back of the net. Right here, you're going to see him. There he is, number 10 in white. And he looks like he does get a piece of that puck. That would be credited as one more shot on goal. But see how he's got to keep moving to get away from the check. And he did successfully as Sillinger trying to stay very close to him.
Henneke off the boards. This is Len Berry. Niedermayer's got 3 assists. His camp in front of the net. Robert Svela away from Sylvester. Now dish back. Quick shot in front. Slager able to knock it free, and this is Guala. 40 seconds of power play time left for the Panthers. Now on the right wing. This is Jokinen. Harlock defending. The 2 go to the board. Kicked by Harlock ahead for Guala. 25 seconds of power play time. Dean Sylvester scoops up the loose puck at center, carries in over the Panther line. Sylvester works behind the net. Sylvester in front, but Len Berry neatly to take it away. And the Panthers in the final seconds of the Atlanta penalty to Callio. In neutral ice, Berry will tip it back for Dan Boyle. 1:40 left in this hockey game, and offside to go.
Offside Atlanta.
Now you look at Robbie Niedermayer talking about Scott Mellanby in the open, if you saw it. My interview with Robbie said I had a little trouble dealing with it. But you know something of interest when you talk about the remaining originals. Now, I guess you could say that technically Robbie Niedermayer is the only remaining original. I know Paul Laws is sitting at home saying, hey, Denny, what are you talking about? Well, the fact is that very first game back in October 1993 in Chicago, Paul Laws did not dress for that game. So you had Niedermayer and Scott Mellanby in that game. And of course, with Mellanby gone, that leaves Robbie Niedermayer That's technically the only original from the first game anyway.
Puck chopped to center over the stick of Dan Boyle. Boyle paired on defense with John Jacobson. Adams rolls it behind the net. Artvada off Payet here on the breakup. Odgers at center. Jeff Odgers carries it over the line. Final minute of play. John Jacobson turned around by Kallio. Guala held in check. Along the board, Jacobson flips it off the wall. Guala. Payet and Guala get tied up. Here's Adams for Florida. Greg Adams throws it up the left wing and deep into Atlanta territory. Right side, Skopenshed. Long shot. Made by Trevor Kidd. Anders Eriksson away from Denny Lambert. Odgers and Lambert out there in this final minute. Rough stuff, perhaps. I think Tamer's out there. Odgers, Lambert. Puck taken away. Well, guess who's out there for Florida? Laurel, Jokinen, Lenny Berry, and it's chipped behind the net. Tamer